Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Fit Podcast. I'm Taylor, and I am your host. This podcast is all about applying the different principles of quantum physics and quantum biology to your health and fitness. This gives us a holistic view of how different environmental factors, such as sunlight or cold, play a major role in your overall health. So I won't just be talking about diet or exercise and developing good habits. If you want to really make lasting changes in how you feel, think, and act, then I'd recommend you try to listen closely and have an open mind to what I have to say. Every day I'll be hitting you with a quick 7 to 15 minute long podcast. I keep it short like this because it makes it both informative and to the point so that you don't feel quite so overwhelmed with information. Also, currently I do not do any kind of advertisements. So instead, I ask that you share this podcast with a friend or family member if you enjoyed the message and gained something from it. I want to be able to spread quality and easy to understand content that everyone can take and use in their own daily lives. I would highly appreciate it. On to today's episode, Quantum Perspective on Supplements. Alright, so for this episode, I'm going to rapidly move through some common supplements or groups of supplements and give you my opinion on them from a quantum health viewpoint. I would have found this information really helpful for myself years back, so I hope this will be just as useful for you. Alright, so let's start off with adaptogens. I actually don't know how to say it. That's how I've always said it. Adaptogens work through augmenting the circadian rhythm in different ways. Each adaptogen has a slightly different way that it alters the circadian rhythm. It affects it in a slightly different way. And this is why all adaptogens seem to benefit the body as a whole, but some of them have more noticeable benefits for some areas of the body versus other adaptogens. It appears the main driver behind helping the circadian rhythm is through the donation of heat shock proteins to the body. So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting that it appears that basically the way that adaptogens work is, it's not through some, I don't know, you'd think it might be through some unique method that it's able to do it, but in reality it sounds like, at least from what I can tell looking through the studies, that really they're just donating heat shock proteins that we already make in our body. So it's nothing unique, really. And so adaptogens, this makes them a really good class of supplements if you're really beat up and need support like right now. They could be used long term, but you really want to get off these at some point. Remember, adaptogens are good for treating symptoms, but cannot cure the causes of your issues. Only quantum solutions like sunlight exposure can. Moving to a different class, mushrooms. They deplete deuterium in the body, which also means that they increase our easy water levels. I'll get into deuterium in a different podcast, by the way. Mushrooms are also fantastic at capturing sunlight, and, a good way to tell is that they're able to create massive amounts of vitamin D when they're exposed to sunlight. Now, anything that traps light will always be really good news for us. So, eat your mushrooms. Now, medicinal mushrooms make, they're the best of both worlds because they're mushrooms and adaptogens. So they actually both reduce our deuterium levels and increase the amount of heat shock proteins we have. So I would really highly recommend taking any kind of medicinal mushrooms. All of them, again, they're all a little bit different, but all of them provide massive benefits, especially like turkey tail for people with, severe inflammatory diseases or, cancer or something like that. Turkey tail ends up being really good. And because they have both of these effects, depleting deuterium, increasing heat shock proteins, medicinal mushrooms are good even if you have your environment in check. You got your sunlight and your cold exposure and everything else. I would still highly recommend taking them if you can afford it. Now, multivitamins. All multivitamins are complete junk. Just throw them away. Stop taking them. There's no reason to take them at all, unless, like, you really need something for a specific disease, like right now, that your doctor says you need to keep taking it. Besides that, just toss them. Even the top of the line multivitamins, screw them. Don't waste your money. I mean, first off, you're mostly just pissing it all away, and then, keep in mind that just like fish oil, there are a lot of factors involved with nutrients. They basically need to be what I would call programmed by sunlight. Otherwise, there's potential for problems like with DHA, with the NSN positioning DHA. If you recall in my fish oil podcast, sunlight is an important part in making the nutrient. You can't just manufacture it and expect it to work the same, which multivitamin companies expect. They think it's just going to work the same, or maybe they do know that it won't work as well, but they just keep selling it because they make money off it. Just eat quality animal products instead, especially seafood. Don't take multivitamins. And speaking of fish oil, almost pretty much all fish oil is like worthless, and in the worst cases it actually harms you. Now, I mean, the good kinds of fish oil can be good sometimes. Pretty much if you just can't afford eating, actually buying fish, that's the only time I would recommend it. If you're only able to just eat just like meat and butter and stuff, that's all you can really afford, then, getting Nordic Naturals fish oil, I would recommend it just so you can get your DHA. But still, fish in the studies is always shown to be better than taking fish oil. Moving on to the next class, polyphenols. Again, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to say it. That's the way I see it. It's the plant chemicals that are, bright colors. So a key thing that a lot of people don't know is that all polyphenols provide benefits via sunlight. Now, and again, most polyphenols are going to be like bright colors. So they're red, purple, blue, orange, or yellow. Generally, there might be green too and white, but those are the most common ones. Curcumin and resveratrol are big ones, but all of them are generally good no matter what. They work by either directly providing more electrons and light into our bodies when we eat them, or they act as photoreceptors and increase our ability to absorb and utilize sunlight. So they basically make the process I talk about in my very first podcast episode, they make that process more efficient. So we actually absorb more UV light. Pretty interesting. And I'll use my first two examples that I threw up. So curcumin pretty much only works if you're getting sunlight exposure. That's when that's where curcumin shines. Whereas resveratrol works at all times because it actually donates light. I'm sure it does help us absorb a little bit, but for the most part it's donating light. That's why you can keep seeing better and better benefits the more resveratrol you take. Whereas curcumin sometimes isn't always the case. And all kinds of polyphenols are fine to take. It doesn't matter with your environment. Obviously, getting more sunlight is always going to make whatever you take work better, but it's especially the case with polyphenols. You want to be getting sunlight if you're taking them. The one major exception is soy. Never take anything from soy. It's loaded with deuterium and will lower your total structured water in your cells. Bad stuff. All quality amino acid supplements are usually good, especially essential amino acid supplements. You don't want them manufactured though, since they tend to be made from bird feathers or human hair, so aim for those that are created through fermentation. Yeah, I guess they actually I don't know if they grow plants and then somehow they ferment them, I guess, and then they extract the amino acids from them. So, they're a lot more natural, I guess, or technically organic, but either way, in studies when amino acids are fermented, they work a lot better in the body than the kind that's just, extracted again from hair or feathers. There's one brand I take. You don't have to buy anything from them. I'm just recommending them because I use them. Caged Muscle, they have really good amino acid. They use the fermented amino acids, and they have an essential amino acid supplement, and not a lot of people have them. So anyway, I recommend that. Overall, there's far too much ground to cover, though, with exercise supplements, and it's pretty low on my priority list, so I'll probably get more in depth with it in a couple months or so. Mitochondria-specific supplements are fantastic, and so these are the ones that usually get a lot of attention as being good supplements. And if you listen to my previous podcast, you know that benefiting mitochondria should be your number one concern. The best 4 supplements for this are R-lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, N-acetylcysteine, or just NAC, NAC is usually what people call it, and L-carnitine. All of these supplements work in different ways. However, they'll all ultimately boost the efficiency of the mitochondria. This, of course, means you can see exponential benefits from taking these specific supplements versus, some of the other ones I'm talking about on this list, because, again, they directly benefit the mitochondria. I thought it would be worthwhile to talk about detox supplements, even though it's just kind of a funny topic to me, really. All detox supplements are pretty much completely pointless, unless it's something like milk thistle, something that, it actually makes your liver work better. Milk thistle is pretty much good for everybody. I think it might even be an adaptogen. But most detox, supposed detox stuff is just crap. It's pointless. And, I never even really understood them when I was first learning about health. And now I just don't even understand why they're marketed. What is it exactly you need to detox from that your body isn't already doing? Because the body is always detoxing 100% of the time. That's one of the biggest, jobs that your liver has, is detoxing. That's what it does. You have lymph nodes. The lymph helps carry crap throughout your body too. So why do you need to detox more? The only thing that the body has a hard time getting out of your body is heavy metals. And so if you want to clear that out, just eat a ton of fresh herbs, especially cilantro. That's one of the number one purposes behind eating cilantro, really, is for heavy metal. Just throw it in everything if you're concerned about it, about, supposed detoxing. Otherwise, there's nothing you need to clear out of your body. Now, if you really want to do a detox, I guess I wouldn't call it a detox as much as it is resetting your gut. Just take enough magnesium where you'll clean out your colon of all the mucus and bacteria sitting on the mucus. Just everything will come on out. Yeah, good stuff. Then after that, cut out all fiber and eat only meat and seafood for at least a few weeks. I mean, seriously, you'll have no fiber or anything, and the meat and seafood will provide plenty of nutrients and, a base, I guess, for the bacteria to eat off of, to multiply and everything. Seriously, I promise you'll have one of the best detoxes known to man doing that versus taking, one of the garbage detox supplements out there. Finally, I wanted to touch on CBD a little bit. So there's, marijuana, the 2 main components that, provide effect or that have effects in the body are going to be CBD and THC. THC, that gives you all the psychoactive effects, whereas CBD provides all the health benefits for the most part. So CBD and regular marijuana, any kinds of products made from both are incredible for everyone, actually, if you have a very bad circadian rhythm. So the body's, trying to keep this a little simple. So the body's own endocannabinoid system, it actually releases cannabinoids, which again is that CBD, and that's, marijuana has it. That's what's providing most of the health benefits anyway. So the body releases its own cannabinoids at specific times of day. If you have horrible sleep, or you have stress issues, or any other hormone problem, you're not going to be releasing enough cannabinoids. This means that blue light plays a big factor in how much we release. And again, this is why, CBD and marijuana products tend to be really, really good for a lot of people. Most people have horrible circadian rhythms. Interestingly, this is partly why musicians and other people who are in lots of blue light at night tend to be drawn to smoking pot. Their body is craving cannabinoids from outside because their bodies aren't able to create and release their own cannabinoids. All right, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Just a little bit different, just rifling through some different supplements. I thought it was kind of fun. Might do another one some other time, targeting different supplements. If you have any questions or comments, find me on Instagram at RealQuantumFit, my personal Facebook page, Taylor Kelson, or through a voice message across the Anchor app, if you listen to me on the app. See ya!